welcome back to our channel. Thank you for all your likes, your comments on our previous videos, our previous cases. The last two was the Gabby Petito case as well as the Madeleine McCann case as well. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for subscribing. Remember to subscribe on this video today as well. Right, today's case is going to be the case of Shanann Watts. Again, I've been asked a good few times to do this case, so let's dive into it today. I hope you all enjoy, and again, remember to subscribe. Shanann Watts was born on the 10th of January 1984. Now, she was brought up in Carolina with her parents, Frank and Sandra. She also had a brother, Frankie, as well. Shanann was married to a man named Leonard Kim, and they divorced in 2009. Now in 2010, that is when Shanann met Chris Lee Watts. Now at the time, he worked at the Anadarko Petroleum Woodlands in Texas. And on the 3rd of November 2012, Chris and Shanann also got married back in Carolina. By March 2013, Shanann was pregnant with her first daughter. Her first daughter was born on the 17th of December 2013, and that was Bella Marie Watts. On July the 17th, 2015, Celeste Catherine Watts, CC, was also born. In 2013, Shanann was an HR specialist at a children's hospital in Colorado. In 2016, she decided to work for the company Level as an independent rep. Now that was basically a company that marketed Thrive health and wellbeing products.
So I'm not going to be super loud because it's 12:15. They've been down for like 30 minutes and I've cleaned. Everything's done today. The house is spotless, like literally. But I do have things I'm doing. Let me get a couple people on. So here's the deal. I'm making samples right now. I just got a delivery this morning of all of this amazingness. So I'm making samples. I bought my sample packs, so they're all right here, and I'm gonna send them out. And I may have a surprise for everyone who grabs a sample today. You guys can pick out your flavor shakes. So I have candy cane, which I normally don't share, but I want to share because it's absolutely amazing. I have chocolate, which tastes like a Wendy's what are they called? Frosties? She's coming to get you.
Come here.
Chris, I don't want a video of you. Uh-oh. She's got you, Belle.
All hands and feet need to stay in your window. I think you're moving now. That's just something else. Hi to you too, kid.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, she did too again.
No, we didn't go in there yet.
Videos as well. Chris was also on our Facebook videos and our social media videos, but also they came across as a very normal, standard working class family. Maybe a lot of people may look in and wish they had what Shanann had. She does come across as very organised, very together, but even as a psychic looking in at those videos, I don't believe that she ever thought her husband would be capable of what he was capable in the end. Let's get into the disappearance. Weekend of the 10th of August 2018, Shanann had been on a business trip in Arizona. Through that weekend, she had been expressing a little bit of problems within the relationship, a few insecurities within the relationship as well, and more so that Chris wasn't paying any interest around her. Now, this had been a build-up. She returned back home on August the 13th at 1:48am in the morning. Now, the neighbour's security camera had picked her up coming home. Her friend Nicole dropped her off that evening as well. In the June, Chris and Shanann had announced that Shanann was pregnant. She was also pregnant with a little boy. She'd also popped on Facebook how she surprised Chris. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to pop that up. I don't want to gratify him in any way whatsoever, any more than we have to within this video. But what I will pop up is the security footage of Shanann entering her own home at 1:48 that morning. Also on August the 13th, Shanann had an antenatal appointment. Now, her little boy had an irregular heartbeat, so it was very important and she was very, very cautious that she would attend these appointments. Now, Shanann never attended the 10am appointment, and that's when the concerns were raised because it turned out that she wasn't answering her phone. She hadn't replied to any texts, which then her friend Nicole decided to raise the alarm. So between Shanann not turning up for the doctor's appointment, we've already said she's very, very routine. It's very out of character for her not to turn up, but she never had her phone out her hand because of her job. She was gaining a lot of followers within her social media. She was doing Instagram lives, Facebook lives as well. So again, the fact that people were trying to get a hold of her and couldn't get a hold of her would have been very concerning quite quickly because of how her normal behaviours would have been. Her friend Nicole decided to drive over to Shanann's house, and when she got there she noticed straight away that Shanann's car was still in the drive, but also that Bella and Cece's car seats were also in the back of the car. Nicole also went up to Shanann's door. She knocked on the door, but she was aware that they had the doorbell security camera, which also had an intercom, which also had an app that notified Chris that Nicole was banging on the door. Now, Chris came through the intercom and asked Nicole what was up. She said she was worried about Shanann because they'd been trying to get a hold of her. They didn't think she'd turned up to her doctor's appointment. And Chris said to Nicole that she hadn't to worry, that Shanann was on a play date with another friend. Now, Nicole found that strange because she already knew what Shanann's plans were. But also, they've been having their own conversations as well. So I'm sure at that point, as a friend, Nicole already knew where Shanann's head was at, probably more than what Chris did. Now, if you think about it, that story already doesn't match. Because if Shanann was on a play date, why was the car in the drive with the two car seats? At that point, Nicole contacted the police and reported as a missing person.
148 on here. And the only thing that was weird was that the garage door said as left open after I left, and it might have been the sensor, but like my phone doesn't show when
for your alarm.
Yeah, it doesn't show if it shuts.
And who's your alarm through?
Vivian.
Okay.
But the Nikki, her friend that came here about 12:10, she said the garage door was shut when she got here.
Okay.
That was the only thing that was weird.
All right. Were you gonna hang out there, or you want to come in here?
I'll sit right here.
Okay. Where's the purse at?
On the counter.
I'm still recording, so.
Yep.
Whose phone is that?
I believe that is his. Bomb over took hers. That's one wrong thing.
Is that a diary, or what is that?
It's for work, I believe.
How did you say the kids were? 2 little kids. Yeah.
No, they have all their shoes are in the closet right here.
Do you know which ones they normally wear? Like,
It's like a flavor of the month thing, honestly. Like, it's whatever they want to wear. They say pick your shoes and they just go through them.
do you know which ones they normally wear? Like,
It's like a flavor of the month thing, honestly. Like, it's whatever they want to wear. They say pick your shoes and they just go through them.
and you have no idea of which friend. So all your friends pretty much have kids the same age, so it's hard to.
It's really hard. I mean, I've exhausted every option I know of as far as friends goes. Like Nikki knew more of them because she's a woman, and that's about as far as we could go as far as all the friends that we could think of.
All right. So if you talk to some of her friends, tell them that we're looking for her, and we just need to make sure that she's okay, and she can call us. She doesn't have to call you. That if that's what she's worried about.
You know, you're trying to get a hold of her and she don't want to talk to you, so have them refer her to us if they know where she's at.
Okay.
Saying.
Just so whatever's going on between you guys, that's between you guys, and she doesn't want to talk to you.
Just my perception of that. The minute he shook the water bottle, when the police first approached him, I think that was the first time you could actually tell he was lying. I don't think you'd need to be psychic to work out that is very, very suspicious behaviour. I'm going to let you see some of the footage of Shanann's friend Nicole also speaking to the police, but also speaking with Chris being there as well.
How you guys doing? What's that?
Do you remember me?
Yeah.
Hey man.
How you been?
Hi.
You Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going on?
So my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend,
All right.
and I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well, and she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls, and she was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her because she's pregnant. Her husband and her supposedly are separating, but she didn't know this. She thought they were just having issues. He disclosed that to me today.
Okay.
Because I called him and I was like, have you talked or heard from Shanann since she left for work this morning? Because I can't get a hold of her. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are by the front door.
She only has one vehicle?
No, they only have the one vehicle in his work truck.
Okay. That's what I'm asking. There's
She
not
took
a...
the girls and went on a play date, but they're 4 and 2. She went on a play date? Why wouldn't she take in a car? They're both in car seats. And she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9 and she didn't go to the doctor's appointment.
Okay. No answer on the phone. Husband's on his way.
Supposedly, but he said that 30 minutes ago when I called him again and he said there's 45 minutes out still. And I know the code to the door.
You do?
I do, but there's a thing on it. There's a, no, it'll, even Chris knows we can do it. There's a, they have the thing flipped up here.
Oh. What about the garage door?
I don't
Is
know.
there...
No, but to be honest with you, that's out of the ordinary. Usually when you're looking at that, usually doesn't come out.
Shit.
See, it's like checking every window.
What's that?
Nothing on there.
You just have to
My
back
camera.
the truck up to the garage.
Lay down.
Loaded my stuff up in my coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping into rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not, is it
any
motion or is it?
event.
Okay, so it's motion.
any motion event that happens, but I get cars driving from this street, and this is him at 517.
Usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier, so lugging everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in. What else can I do with this?
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out
On
there,
his cameras,
I would have got it.
like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck
I
right
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
see if
I could
anything
see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would
if it
have.
would have been like right in that area, it should have picked. I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
you know where that tree there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
Xfinity. Oh, you can see this car starting to drive down the street. here.
That one.
Oh, what? Okay.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. It'll be code 4.
Cause yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling a U-turn. So unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking out. Diesel.
Here's good.
But yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
15 weeks. That's why her friend said it was low blood sugar.
And see, I've got her friend leaving out here at 2 in the morning, I think. So, my
Mind if you just want to go talk to him? I'm going to get his info real quick. No.
He's never fidgeted. He's never rocking back and forth. And if you look, he never loads his stuff in and out of the garage ever.
Right.
And it doesn't look like he came from right here. It looks like he came from down the street. And then the other thing that doesn't make sense is why would he pull past this part? You can see him pull past.
Are you able to record this?
Now again, you can see in those videos, especially the first video, Chris has got his hands in his head, and when the man's putting the CCTV on, obviously they're looking at the back of the car and things like that. When he's got his hands in the back of his head, I psychically get he's reliving the moments that his daughters were still alive. But I also get by the end of those videos, when he's pacing about with the phone, it's taking up too much of his time. He's still very much in that episode of, I wouldn't say it is psychosis, I would say it's being selfish and letting your heart rule your head and a million different other things, but it was still very much in that selfish act at that point. It was also reported that he'd contacted the real estate to put the house in the market. He'd contacted the school to unenroll the children from the school as well. So I think before Nicole came to the house that morning, Chris Watts was living his best life. Side note here as well, when the police asked the code to get into the garage, Chris said he would open it when he got back, which was the case that he did open it. But from a psychic side of things as well, I feel there was something in her car, or there was a connection where he had to get something, but I'm not sure what it was. Chris also told the police that the last time he seen Shanann was at 2 a.m. that morning. When she came in, they'd had an emotional conversation about their marriage, and that Shanann was upset that it had been decided that the marriage was ending and it was over. He then said at 5 a.m. he went to work and left Shanann sleeping. Now, the police had brought in the detectives by this point, and again, investigating, the first thing they're going to go is go to the person's partner, the person closest to them. More than one detective had a conversation with Chris, and his story's changed twice. The first time he said that he had the conversation, the emotional conversation with Shanann before they went to sleep, and that he got up for work at 5 a.m. He then told the detective that they'd had the emotional conversation at 4 a.m. and then he'd got up for work. So by this point, the story had already changed. And again, it's another investigation method. More than one detective and police officer speak to that person to see if the story stays the same or not. Over the next 2 days, Chris done a lot of media interviews, portraying himself as the doting father, the doting husband, the concerned husband, sometimes even the grieving husband.
What's going on right now around your house?
Right now, it's you got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent, see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now, it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came home. Tell me what's.
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say, but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home, and then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nope, nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, Shanann.
What's your kids' name?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell it? Celeste?
Celeste.
How old are your daughters?
4, Bella's 4, Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, what's going on. Like cause after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like she just got back, like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. But I mean, could she just taken off? I don't know. But if somebody has her and they're not safe, like I want them back now. Like that's what's in my head. Like if they're safe right now, they're gonna come back. But if they're not safe right now, that's the not knowing part. Like if they're not safe, last night I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here.
I'm gonna ask some kind of tough questions about your relationship with your kids.
My kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. And this, last night, during when they usually eat dinner, it was just like I missed them. Like, I mean, I missed telling them, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, you know, and just like you're not going to get your snack after. I missed that. Like I missed them, you know, cuddle up on their couches. They have like a Minnie Mouse couch and a Sophia couch that they cuddle up on and watch, you know, Bubble Guppies or something. And it was just like, you know, I was, it was tearing me apart last night, and I needed that. I needed that last night, and for nobody to be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on, and I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on, and know I wasn't going to kiss them to bed tonight. It was that's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it.
That interview was convincing. Last night, he was very concerned about himself, and he made some very big story up about the night before, how he waited for them to come in, he left all the lights on. As you heard him saying, he's a fantasist, and you can see at that point that he's very disregarding. He's finding it easy to speak about his daughters Bella and Cece, the things that they used to do, but he's also talking as if he already knows, which he does, that they're not coming back. So it's as if he's already prepping himself up. Very, very selfish man. I feel a cold heart at that point. I feel like he as much as nobody else is on top of the world at that point, he's feeling a bit on top of the world. We are going to bring in, again, the mistress into this as well, but I do feel at that point they were having a lot of communication, and I feel she was guiding him more than he was guiding her. Chris Watts was arrested on the 15th of August 2018 on the charge of 3 counts of first-degree murder. He was given a polygraph test where he was asked 3 questions. The questions were if he physically caused Shanann to disappear, if he was lying about the last time he saw her, and whether he knew where Shanann was. Now, he answered no to all 3 of those questions and failed all 3 of those questions. The neighbour across the road's security footage had actually caught Chris loading his van at 5:30am with some sort of large item within a white sheet, also a red petrol can as well. Now, that neighbour's camera footage caught Shanann going into the house, but it never ever caught her leaving the house. So the police put 2 and 2 together at that point and realised that it was quite likely that it was Shanann that was the large item. And the children asked to see his father before he made any sort of confession to the police. And what he told his father was that he had been getting up for work after the emotional conversation with Shanann, and he'd looked down the baby monitor and she was trying to strangle Celeste. Now, when he ran out in a rage towards her, he realised Bella was on the floor, already blue, and she'd already passed away. It was already too late, apparently, for Celeste as well, and that's why he fit into a rage and then went and strangled Shanann. Now, this was Chrissy's story. Psychically, I get there's no depth with this man, or everything's very callous, and I can imagine he's put a mask on for so long, but we'll come to that in a wee second. He also told his father where the bodies were, and at that point, that's when the police went out towards where Chris Watts worked, and the tanks as well. When the police got there, they found the shallow grave of Shanann Watts, and not that far away either, they found Celeste and Bella. They had been stuffed in the tanks. By doing the investigating, it is very clear that Shanann's mum was very, very spiritual. And I watched an interview with herself that she actually had said when the police called to say they'd found the children, the only way they could identify them was one was wearing a nappy and one wasn't, and that's how she knew what child had been found first. What I also believe is, we will come to the conclusion with it, but when Chris Watts was in his neighbour's house, I feel that was a spirituality at its highest. I feel Shanann is a very strong spirit. I feel she always has been, and we're going to come to that soon. But I do feel there's a bit of divine timing in with everything that happened around that and how quick everything happened as well. Another blow came for the case and for Shanann's family when it was revealed that Chris was actually having an affair. Now, the affair had started while Shanann was in South Carolina with Bella and Cece. Nicole Kesinger, now she worked as a contract employee at Chrissy's work, and this affair had been going on for 6 weeks at this point. Nicole told the police that Chris had told her that he was going through a mutual divorce. He did have 2 daughters, but he didn't tell her that Shanann was expecting their 3rd child. Now, what I find funny with that is that she never thought to look Shanann up or do a little bit more digging around that. So is that because she was so besotted with Chris and she trusted him? Or was it because she already knew there was going to be a plan that Chris was going to leave Shanann? Also told the police that if she'd known that there was a baby on the way and that Chris was still with Shanann, then she wouldn't have wasted her time. Now, on the day that Shanann disappeared, she had been Googling wedding dresses the full day. Nicole said she decided to call the police and contact them to let them know who she was, because she thought it was all a wee bit strange with the disappearance of the family. But she did also report that Shanann and Chris were having some financial difficulty, and she thought that was the drive behind this, because she couldn't possibly think that she would have been the drive. She also said what she found weird was that on the night after Shanann disappeared, she tried to call Chris and he had been sleeping, and she thought that was a bit strange that he could go to sleep considering his family were still missing. But what's also strange with that is as well, if you look at the news report from previous and earlier in the video, he was up all night with the lights on waiting for the kids to come in the door. Police didn't believe that Nicole had any direct contact or responsibility to do with the murders, but what they did find strange was her Google searches, because they were pretty dodgy. The first one was, man, am I having an affair to leave his wife for me? So is the man going to leave the wife for her? The next one, marrying your mistress. This is a funny one. It's such Amber Fry. Now, you might need to Google this, but Amber Fry was basically a mistress of Scott Peterson, and his wife Lacey had went missing. Now, she even had Googled the net worth of Amber Fry. Did people like her? How much was she hated after it? The fact that he had killed his wife. Very strange, very strange. On the 19th of November, Chris was given 5 life sentences, also 48 years for the death of his son Nico as well. Through the autopsy reports, I'm sorry if this is upsetting to anyone, but it was said that Shanann was manually strangled and she died slowly, which would suggest that she struggled. Bella's autopsy results was that she was smothered, but she'd bit right through her tongue, which would then say that she fought so hard for her life as well. There was nothing visible around Celeste in any way whatsoever. Nothing came back in the autopsy other than what they already expected. It does go without saying how sad this case is. As we do with all our crime cases, I am going to pop on the spirit box. I have done this case on a live at the start of the year, and it was very, very responsive with the spirit box. I just want to explain the spirit box a little bit. Okay, there will be more than one spirit that comes through. It can sound like interference, but the more you get used to listening to the spirit box, it does become easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a few questions to the spirit box. Please, please, please comment below if you hear something in the spirit box that I don't. I have found in all these videos, when you comment below what you hear, it starts to build a picture. What I'll do is I will give you my conclusion first, and then we'll go into the spirit box. How Shanann and Chris met says it all. Now, they met through Facebook. He contacted her through Facebook. She'd just come out of a divorce. She'd been cheated on. There were a lot of different things going on. So I can imagine she thought that was her hero at that point. I'm sure she's not the first, and she'll certainly not be the last. I believe that Chris came into her life not at the best time. So I believe that who he is now is who he was then. Now, maybe not with the potential of killing, but I feel he was quite a narcissist. He was the type of man that knew how to get what he wanted without being abrupt, assertive, more manipulative than anything else. I feel that Shanann was a very confident person before she got with Chris, but people were just so glad for her to have a relationship and finally get what she wanted, her marriage, her children, that the cracks were papered over. I feel there was a lot of concern around her marriage when she first got married, and maybe more because they didn't know enough about Chris. I do believe that this is not the first affair that Chris Watts has had. I do believe that 2-3 years previous that she's caught him doing something then, which has then sparked the whole mistrust within the relationship, because I do feel before then things were quite normal and perfect in a sense, but I do feel something happened way back then as well. What I do want to say is she was very family orientated, and I don't feel he was ready to settle as quick as what she was. She was a very organised person. I feel that suited him for the first wee while, but again, when old tendencies come back, I don't feel he was ever fully committed to the marriage. I'll just give it a name, Joanne, round something as well. What I do want to say is, I do feel Shanann knew Chris was capable of doing something to her. Maybe not so much to the girls, but to her. Chris was a type of man that wanted to be validated, and I feel the more Shanann was doing better on social media, becoming better within her job, and people were finding her very likeable, and probably again relatable as well. I feel it was a jealousy thing, and that's what you find around narcissists as well. And when obviously everything had happened, that he'd taken her life and taken his children's life, I don't feel in the car he cared. He was desperate to get those three out that car to start his life that he started, or he thought he was going to start. I feel that one of the girls, and I've said this in a live before, either had the phone. I feel it was Cece. Someone had a phone, and I want to say that they were pacing up and down as if they were the last. Now, what I will give as well is that there was a chain. I don't know if it was Shanann's chain. There's a connection with a chain to do with the car as well, and I'm wondering if that's what he was going into the garage for. I feel Nicole and Chris had planned Nicole going to the police. I want to say that I do feel she is very heavily involved, but I think she was not silly enough to be involved in any sort of correspondence talking about it. But I feel it was more subliminal messages. He was already saying when he was in contact with her or physically with her, like, it's not going to be for much longer. I feel it was premeditated, but I don't feel he was planning in taking the children's life until the weekend that he was left with the children. I feel that was very much too much for him. I want to say that became an annoyance at that point. I don't feel he ever was excited about the pregnancy in any way whatsoever, and I feel Shanann felt that and knew that herself. I want to say he's a very, very evil character. I feel that even now he might show remorse, but I don't actually feel that he's ever said sorry to his wife or his girls. I feel he calls upon them in spirit, asking for their help. What a bloody cheek. And again, it just shows you, like, they say love's blind, but that's a different ballgame altogether when you take your full family out. It was reported the house was put in the market that day. The kids were unenrolled for school. You've seen how he spoke round the media. He was already talking like they were dead. I feel he wanted to tell his dad so that his dad would believe his side of the story. But I believe his dad already knew. And I believe that the minute she disappeared, his mum and dad knew that there could be something in that, but I don't feel they believed that he did it with the children as well. Right, let's get on to the spirit box. Let's get this done. Okay, so the first question is, Spirit, if you're with us, give me a sign that you're here. Shanann, can you connect with the spirit box? Shanann, did you know about Nicole? Everything. You knew everything. Shanann, how did you find everything out? Christy. Shanann, how did you find everything out? Shanann, did you fight back from Chris? What was your last memory? The girls. Were the girls with you when you died? Shanann, was the girls with you? Shanann, are you with your girls? Is Bella and Cece safe? Are they okay? Is Bella and Cece here?
What are you
Shanann, are you stuck in your house? The reason I'm asking is she's stuck in her house. There's a lot of ghostly things on the internet at the moment, sightings inside the house, and as a psychic, every time I watch them, it's like her and the two kids are in that house and they don't realise they're gone. And I've always felt the same way, and I'm sorry if that's distressing for anyone, but it's just exactly what I get. It's like they're looking out the window saying, why are all these people coming to your house? It's been a very, very sad case. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this. Please comment below, subscribe. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. We are on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok as well. Every time I do these cases, it is pitch black time I'm finished. So sorry for the lighting. But again, thank you so, so much for joining. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. And please pop below any next cases you'd like for us to take a look at. Take care and stay safe.